What's up, everybody? Kyle here at Let's Talk Wax with another episode of Predicting Superstars. Now, it's been a while since I've done one of these episodes, and in this series, we compare the career minor league stats of minor league players today versus the career minor league stats of today's superstars. In this episode, we're going to be looking at Colton Cowser, Jackson Chourio, Junior Caminero, James Wood, and Yanquiel Fernandez. Now, before we get into each player's score, I'm going to break down exactly how this works. And at the end of the video, I'm also going to show you guys the all-time leaderboards for this series. I broke my data into two subgroups, Group 1 being high school international players and Group 2 being NCAA players. Here are the 13 superstars I used to compile my high school and international data. In the red bar below, you can see the average of the entire group for each stat. The stats I chose to use in this series are batting average, ISO, K percentage, K to walk ratio, stolen bases per plate appearance, and finally the age at which each player competed in a specific level. Now, I did the exact same thing for NCAA players. Most college players are drafted around the age of 21, and they were automatically penalized on age level if I ran them through the high school international formula. This is the main reason I created two subgroups. If you guys want to take a closer look at this data, you can find the Excel sheet uploaded to my website at letstalkwax.com. I'll put a link to it in the description. Here are both formulas I used to calculate each player's score. Both formulas are exactly the same except for the data I compiled from the two subgroups. The black line with the arrow pointed to it is the average of the MLB Superstar stats from the two previous slides. The first white player bar would be where you would insert any player you are trying to measure. The middle gray bar shows the scales I used to equalize each stat. And the bottom gray bar shows the differentials which lead to each player's final score. I created a defensive bonus for most games played at a certain position. Shortstops receive 30 points, catchers and center fielders get 25, third basemen get 20, second basemen and right fielders get 15, left fielders get 5, and first base and DHs get no defensive bonus. Here are three examples of how the formula works with Wander Franco, Mike Trout, and Julio Rodriguez. I simply plugged in their career minor league stats, adjusted the numbers via the scale, totaled up the differentials, and added a defensive bonus to come to my final score. Here are some things worth mentioning. Any score above 0 indicates that a player performed above MLB Superstars numbers, and any score below 0 shows that player performed under the MLB Superstars numbers. Negative scores are actually more common than positive scores, due to the fact that the Superstars numbers were so elite. The scores will also make more sense at the end of the video when you can see the all-time leaderboards. We're going to kick this episode off with Colton Cowser, who was recently promoted to the MLB. He played center field the majority of his career in the minors, and he's kind of swapping around in the outfield right now at the big league level, but he definitely has the defensive upside to stick at that position. He's 23.3, and he had a pretty big year in 2022 and to start the 2023 season. Now, over a small sample size, he is struggling a little bit getting his feet wet at the MLB level, but he's got really good K numbers, and I think the batting average and the ISO will continue to improve as he adjusts to pitching. Now, over his career, he's hit 305 with a 184 ISO, a 24.9 K percentage, a solid 1.53 K to walk ratio, and 0.031 stolen bases per plate appearance. And if you look down at the graph, you can see that he did gain points for his stolen bases. He took negatives in all other offensive categories. And I'm going to mention this as I do with this series all the time. It's really hard to score in the career K numbers section, because if you look at the superstars, a 15.6 career K rate is just elite, and a 1.39 K to walk ratio is really good. So it's very difficult for these prospects to score points in those areas. He took a very small hit in batting average, and I think that's Colton Cowser's big offensive piece is his contact ability, the ability to hit for contact and have significant upside defensively in center field. So he did get the 25 plus defensive bonus for being in center field, which brought his score to a negative 13. Our second prospect is Jackson Chourio, who broke into AA last year over a small sample size at the age of 18. He's played the entire year so far at the age of 19 in AA, and he's having a pretty exceptional year. Now, he has gotten incredibly hot since the All-Star break, and those numbers could increase his overall scores at the end of the season, but I can only take what we have right now to run it through the formula. Now, he's got a lot of upside in center field. He hits for average, he hits for a ton of power, and he's got really solid K numbers. You can see he's hitting 286 over his career with a 207 ISO, a 21.9 K percentage, and a 2.75 K to walk ratio. He's also been challenged significantly with his age level throughout his career. So although the numbers don't look incredible, we have to understand that the age he was playing in these higher levels compared to other players. So he took his biggest hits in batting average and K percentage, and he obviously gained some points in ISO because he does have a lot of thump. He's had some K issues in 2022, but he's really cleaning up those K numbers. They have actually improved significantly in 2022. And he gained points in stolen bases per plate appearance, and he also gained points in the age level category, which is another category that's extremely hard to do because a lot of these superstars in their 19s and 20s were already at the major league level. So Jackson Chourio is definitely a guy to watch. He's got the highest score on this list at 2. He is in the green, which means he has performed so far throughout his career a little bit better than the average of today's major league superstars. Now, if you guys enjoy my content and you want to help support the channel, don't forget to check out my Patreon page. I'll put a link to it in the video description. There's lots of really cool content over there, and it's organized especially well to help you guys stay on top of the prospects. I've got a top 100 Bowman Chrome autographs list, a top 100 Bowman Chrome autos under $50 list. I do detailed autograph checklist breakdowns of every release since 2019, and I update them about 4 times per year. We've got a private Discord server over there with daily prospect news, and I've got early access to all YouTube content. So like I said, if you guys want to help support the channel, head over to my Patreon page. I'll put a link to it in the video description. Next up, we have Junior Caminero, 20.1, playing in Double-A right now. He's played the majority of his games in Double-A at third base, but he's come in a close second at shortstop. The splits are pretty close, but he does have the majority of his games so far in Double-A in 2023 at third base. He's one of the top prospects in the Tampa Bay Rays organization and absolutely exploded this year. Over the course of just this season, he's hitting .318 with a .239 ISO, one of the ever-coveted 300 plus, 200 plus batting average ISO guys. 23.5 K percentage as a 20-year-old in Double-A. He is a little aggressive at the plate, but I think as he acclimates to the higher and upper minors, that those numbers could shrink a little bit. Like I said, I try to find guys at the range of the 2.0 and below for K to walk ratio, but he could probably get there if he improves and gets his feet, like I said, more comfortable in the upper minors. So far in 2023, he's got 16 home runs. He's not much of a run threat. He's only got 3 stolen bases so far. But what we're looking at right here is the bat. His career numbers are very linear with his 2023 numbers. He's got a career .312 average, a .219 ISO, sub 20K percentage, and a 2.14 K to walk ratio, which is very close to, like I said, that 2.00 that I really like guys to have. So he took hits in K percentage and K to walk ratio, and as I've mentioned before, 2 categories very difficult to score points in. He took home 1 point in career batting average and 24 points in career ISO. So much like Jackson Chourio, Caminero has a very prevalent power tool, and he's got a very solid to way above average bat offensively with the contact. So like I said, you're banking on the bat here. There's a lot of upside offensively for this guy. He's very age appropriate. He only lost 15 points in the age category for Double-A. And how I do this is I break down the day they were born, and I put that to the day they entered the highest level that they're at. So it actually translated to about 7,260 something, and I divide that by 10 to get my score for that. So if you're wondering why the age is a little different, that's how I calculate the age. But his overall score is -2, and it puts him very linear to other top of today's superstars. He's only 2 below what the current MLB superstars do. Next up, we've got James Wood with the Washington Nationals, 20.8, playing in Double-A right now, center fielder. He is a huge kid with a very high offensive ceiling. He has some issues with the K rate. You can see he's K'ing at a 29.2% rate in Double-A in 2023, and his career K percentage is 26.2. And if you look below, you can see that's where he took his bigger hits, or the age level, the K percentage, and the K to walk ratio. But he's having a pretty solid year in Double-A for his first experience there. A lot of these younger prospects, it takes them some time to get acclimated to Double-A. Not everybody gets to that level like Junior Caminero and has instantaneous success. So he's struggling a little bit right now, and kind of like I talked about with Cowser, his numbers could improve significantly, as he gets more ABs and after the All-Star break and gets his feet, back in Double-A after some quality time off. So the 2023 season so far is hitting .251 with a .251 ISO. The K numbers we've already kind of discussed. He's got 15 homers and 13 stolen bases so far in 2023. So there is a speed-power combo there. Career-wise, he's performed much better with the contact rates over his career than he is right now in Double-A. But the ISO is remaining pretty consistent. He's hit for some power over his career, and he's also hitting for power right now at the Double-A level. So James Wood is definitely a guy to keep an eye on. I know his stuff's pretty expensive right now, but the power speed ceiling, there's probably more of a power ceiling than a speed ceiling, but definitely a guy to keep an eye on as we come into the back half of 2023, because there's a good chance he could improve his average, because like I said, he's got a career average of .293, but he's going to have to lower his K rate a little bit to do that. So watch the power, watch the Ks. His final score is -24, which really isn't that bad, and you'll see why when we get to our all-time rankings. I think he is right next to Pete Crow Armstrong, as I think he also had a score of -24. We're going to finish this up with Yanquiel Fernandez, who's climbed 3 levels so far in 2023, having a really good season. He's 20.6, playing in Double-A right now, right fielder in the Rockies organization. Now, he is struggling a little bit since his promotion to Double-A over a small sample size, and kind of like James Wood, it may take Fernandez a little while to get his feet wet. But the thing that's remained consistent, just like James Wood, are the power numbers. He's hitting for a ton of power. He's got 22 home runs so far this year, and I think that puts him in the top 5 among players 23 years old and under in all of minor league baseball. His career in 2023 stats are very linear, but like I said, he's currently in Double-A. He's got the smallest sample size from that level, so his 2023 numbers are padded a bit with high A stats. But he's got a .296 career average, a .232 career ISO, a 20.4 K percentage, a 2.58 K to walk ratio. So really good K numbers for Fernandez. I like to see prospects under 20% for the K rate and under 2.0 for the K to walk ratio. That's kind of like my excellent guideline right there. He took some hits offensively with batting average, K percentage, K to walk ratio. He doesn't steal many bags. He's not going to be much of a base stealing threat. Kind of like Caminero, he's going to be more of a bat-first player. He took some dings in the age level category. He's playing in Double-A at 20.6, so he lost 36 points in that stat. But he gained 37 in ISO, and I think that's kind of the trend with, like I said, with Wood and Fernandez, is their power hasn't really changed much, and it's been a pretty big constant, and it's one of their bigger, higher ceiling tools, I think, with these guys is going to be the home run output. Like I said, not much defensive upside. He's played the majority of his games in right field, so he only gets a 15-point defensive bonus for that, but his final score is -34. That's going to bring us to the end of this episode number 4. We've got Colton Cowser with a score of -13. Jackson Chourio, the only guy in the positive with the highest score on this episode, of 2. Junior Caminero comes in with a score of -2. James Wood with a score of -24. And Yanquiel Fernandez with a score of -34. Now, what you have to keep in mind is these numbers can change over time, but these are their current scores based off of their current stats that we have. Now, this is our all-time leaderboard for the top 20, and you can see some guys do have an asterisk by their name, and these are the players that missed an entire season of development in 2020 due to the COVID shutdown. So their scores are at a bit of a disadvantage, especially in the age level category. So keep that in mind with the asterisk guys. You can see Jackson Chourio comes in 9th overall with a score of 2. Junior Caminero comes in 11th overall with a score of -2. Colton Cowser comes in at number 13 among the guys we've already ran at -13. And James Wood and Yanquiel Fernandez come in at 15 and 16. So if you guys would like me to run any players through the Let's Talk Wax Predicting Superstars formula, be sure to put that in the comments, and I will try to do my best to get those guys on the next episode. And you can find the entire database along with my formula over on my website at www.letstalkwax.com. That's going to wrap up this episode of Predicting Superstars. I want to give a shout out to all my Patreon Level 3 sponsors. I appreciate the support over there and everyone else who supports me. If you guys enjoy my videos, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one.